Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Shout, shout, I'm talking to you, so come on. Shout!
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. 17 minutes after the hour. Welcome to the Sunrise Show. Craig Froelich in as your host. Thrilled to be here. And in the studio with me this morning, Kathleen Kellenbeck. And she's one of the owners for Brainjoy. They're here in town on Jackson Street, 1007 East Jackson Street. And the Rogue Valley's only Neuro-Wellness Center, Brainjoy.com. And Kathleen, thanks so much for being in the studio.
Oh, good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
I love your website, and you hit right out of the bat. You suffer from deep sadness. Are you chronic pain and all of these different things? And you forget our brain is responsible for all of this stuff.
It's true. The brain, people don't necessarily think about the fact that the brain is the control center for the entire body. And all the different physiological components of what we do just in our daily life are connected to the brain.
You've talked about the healing powers of a balanced brain and neuro-optimal sessions and what this, this software does. Explain for anyone that hasn't heard this software and how this works.
Sure. Well, for starters, we are not a diagnostic facility, so we don't do assessments or analyze a person's brain. We don't treat, cure, heal, or diagnose. However, this technology is really state-of-the-art, and we put EEG sensors on a person's head and ears, and they measure the activity in the brain, and then send it to the computer, and then the computer generates sounds based upon what's going on in that person's brain in real time, 256 times a second. And the person lays back in a chair and listens to a composition of music, and the sounds generated by the computer as a result of what's going on with the EEG sensors and the brain are embedded within that composition of music. And so those sounds are like holding up a mirror to the brain, showing it its firing patterns and that it has different choices, and then allows the body's own innate knowing of what would be a different, better, more suitable, optimized choice to take action accordingly. And so that starts to modify the firing patterns in the brain, which creates greater flexibility and resilience.
Making more, what is it, synapses?
Well, there's all those neural nets starting and it improves the brain chemistry, and then that, of course, correlates with improvement and resolution of whatever ails you.
Yeah, and it's a 45-minute session, and what's really awesome is you have started a very cool thing, complimentary consultation. The first one, if they get in, they can try it.
True story. Yeah, we'll do a 30-minute free consultation where we'll dialogue and gain an understanding of what an individual's needs or goals are and help them to understand how we approach meeting those needs. And then we'll give them an actual free session so they can try the technology out for themselves.
Right, so you can go to the website, brainjoy.com, or call local here, 541-622-6220. And the amazing thing is, marijuana is just, it won't go away. But this is part of the illicit drugs. I mean, look at the suspension and expulsion rate at North and South Medford, 66% because of drugs. So speak to that about illicit drug addicts and what you see at Brainjoy.
Well, it's a very sad state of affairs because people don't necessarily realize the degree to which they're impacted by these recreational drugs.
And what the brain is suffering, right?
Yes, and especially our teens whose brains are still developing. We actually have had wonderful success working with people overcoming addictions. The thing about the marijuana, though, is that the THC lodges within the fat cells of the brain, and our brains are, believe it or not, over 60% fat. And it stays there for a good 3 to 6 months. So even if a person has stopped using their marijuana and they're not feeling the highs or the cognitive sharpness, so they think, and that part is worn off, their cognitive abilities are still significantly impacted. And so it's really imperative that they stay with whatever is the modality of support to help them become sober for a good 3 to 6 months in order to make sure that that's out of their system. And as I said, we've had really great results working with people on a consistent basis, listening to the music of their brain. And they start to have less cravings, less desire to use whatever the substance of choice is as much, and it slowly falls away.
Now, what's the cost? Because, here's where it gets really cool. So what's the cost for a regular session?
We try to make it as affordable as possible for our community. And a single session is $65, but everybody's going to need a good 10 or more sessions. And so that's where we have significant price breaks.
Right.
And so when people buy a package of 10 sessions, they go down to $49.50
Wow.
each. And a series of 20 sessions, they go down to $44.75 each. And then we have other specials for ongoing clients that know they're going to need more sessions beyond that.
But still, that's relatively, even at $65, that is, when you're thinking that the brain is healing itself, and no medicines, and we're not saying that you're not a healing. What was your disclaimer again?
We don't treat, cure, heal, or diagnose.
Right.
We help create a greater flexibility and resilience. But honestly, this is,
I mean, what I meant to say was the brain is finding new synapses within itself to fire.
Yeah, it's non-invasive. There's no drugs involved. There's no talk therapy involved. There's certainly conversation when a person arrives, and at the end of the session, we check in and see how they're doing,
right.
And we rate their goals and evaluate their progress so they can help themselves recognize that they're making progress, rather than hanging our hat on the data. And there is data, but we don't put focus on that with the client. We help the client recognize that the technology speaks for itself.
It's amazing to me. We've got Kathleen Kellenbeck in the studio with us this morning. She's one of the owners of the Neuro-Wellness Center, Brainjoy.com. They're over on 1007 East Jackson in Medford. Their phone number, 541-622-6220. And there's a complimentary consultation for anyone that wants to give them a call and do that. So let's talk some more. We've got a break coming up. And then, just amazing. We'll take your calls as well right here in the studio. On the Sunrise Show, News Radio 880 KCMX. We'll be right back. The Bloomberg Market Update is next.
So get up. Top of the morning to ya.
Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. 33 minutes after the hour, continuing with Kathleen Kellenbeck, and she's one of the owners of Brainjoy here in town. Brainjoy.com is their website, and if you call them, contact them, you could get qualify for a complimentary consultation. 541-622-6220, and it's a 30-minute complimentary consultation on neurofeedback. It's amazing. And Kathleen, we were talking about how it helps drug addicts, and some of the testimonials.
Well, I have people who tell me crazy things like, this has changed my life. A woman who suffered with terrible anxiety that barely could leave the house and would smoke a lot of pot to just manage the anxiety at home. And slowly but surely, she started feeling more and more comfortable leaving the house. Then she started cutting back on her recreational drug use and sleeping through the night. And now she's living a very productive life. And she drove an hour and a half every week to come for sessions.
Wow. Now, the other thing is, like autism. I mean, you've dealt with young boys, girls, teenagers, and it's shocking what's happening.
It's shockingly exciting and rewarding what's happening to have a student, whether it's a college student or a high school student or even some of the tweens and elementary school kids, come in and say they were able to do their homework without feeling so drained, and be able to get it done sooner or start achieving better grades and just feeling a greater sense of self-worth. And then in turn, becoming more interactive with the family conversational at dinner, or little things like taking their own initiative to empty the dishwasher. You know, that sounds like a little thing, but that's a big deal for a teenager, wanting to contribute and participate in just the regular daily activities of the family household, because they just are feeling better about themselves and like they can cope with what's going on in their daily lives.
You know, with you over at Brainjoy, you know, Kathleen, you've noticed impact in these areas: memory, focus, sports performance, weight management, learning and concentration, executive and academic functions, energy, stamina, impulse control, restful sleep, mood, stress management. I would think that sleep is just getting sleep is huge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If people could get 1 to 2 hours more sleep a night than what they're accustomed to, better yet, 7 to 9 hours of sleep, everything in their life becomes easier. You know, so much healing occurs in the body during sleep. So, it's one of the things that we do really well is help people achieve more restful sleep.
You know, and the health, I mean, from being sick and the flu and things like that, this is another issue of getting more sleep, restful, not being stressed, and strengthening your immune system. So it all connects together, doesn't it?
Indeed. You know, just the accumulation of life's daily stressors, they impact the brain as trauma. And then because, there again, the brain is so acutely involved in everything about our bodies, the immune system can be really significantly impacted. And so that makes people more vulnerable to the bugs that are going around. So, you know, coming for sessions at Brainjoy can help balance and rejuvenate, create greater flexibility in that brain so that when life comes at us, we have greater capacity to deflect the bugs and get out of the way when those unenjoyable energies come at us, you know, or become more resourceful to be able to respond in a more resourceful manner.
Well, you talked about the stressors, but a trigger, I mean, and
Right.
and that drug of choice, you know, reaching for that bag of potato chips or just stressing on whatever. And you had me come in, and I just felt great that day. I couldn't believe it. I left, I was like, wow, I feel good. And it was at the end of the week, and I'd been tired all week, and I had a little power nap. I passed out, right? I don't know what happened. And you said, that's okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because my brain is still working. I might be,
And
So-
you know, in all honesty, I suffered with almost incapacitating anxiety and depression before I ever started doing this work. And it had such a profound impact on me of a positive nature, got off medications and on my family, that I changed careers 4 years ago at the age of 49 to open this office with my husband because we couldn't not share it.
Yeah,
It changed my life, so I understand when other people say it's changed their lives.
It's fantastic, and Kathleen, this is really great. I mean, we're talking with Kathleen, you know, Kellenbeck. She's the owner of the Neuro-Wellness Center, Brainjoy. They're over on 1007 East Jackson in Medford. Their phone number 541-622-6220, 6220, brainjoy.com. And Kathleen, it's great to have you in. Sessions, you can do 1, you can do 3, 4, space them out however, right? No.
Well, you know, a session here or there feels good like a massage does, but in all honesty...
Also depends what kind of thing they're doing.
Well, absolutely, but consistency is also good. If you have specific things that you're trying to improve upon or overcome, we generally do 1 to 3 sessions a week depending upon the person and their needs.
But it's short, easy, and quick.
You're in and out in 45 minutes. You come on your lunch hour or before you start your work day.
But the cool thing is each session builds off of the last session.
Exactly. The momentum of the repeated sessions over time strengthen those new neural nets in the brain so that they become dominant over the old stuck firing patterns that are no longer serving us.
Wow, that's very cool. And you are offering a complimentary consultation, a 30-minute consultation for anyone that calls.
Indeed. And then a free session. I had one client who said she's too busy in her life to take a vacation, but she has too much going on and is feeling overwhelmed. And after that first session, she said, I feel like I just had a week's vacation.
Oh, I know. I felt great. It was amazing to me after that whole week of being tired. And then I came in for a little session. It was like, wow. And all day, it was like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's the point. The benefits last.
great. Well, Kathleen, we're out of time, but it's awesome to have you in, and thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Kathleen Kellenbeck, the owner of Brainjoy. Brainjoy.com is their website. 541-622-6220. And Monday through Friday.
Actually, we offer office hours on Saturday mornings as well.
Ooh, okay. There's your chance, ladies and gentlemen. We got to get to a break. We'll be back more in the Sunrise Show after this on News Radio 880 KCMX. Hope you're having a great day. The Sunrise Show back after this break.